Hi, NessaBrandy again here with my little web blog, and I've made a decision yesterday concerning events that I'm going to start making these videos at the end of my day rather than beginning of the day, because apparently things that I wanted to say to happen during the day I could not say because I'd already made my video blog, and so now I'm going to make my videos at the end of the day so I can rant about these things. In particular, yesterday I was driving to go pay my cell phone bill, and I was coming down the street, and I was about a block from the cell phone place, and I got caught at a red light, and I'm sitting there waiting at the red light, and then this guy from somewhere on the sidewalk comes up to my car window and knocks on my window and tries to open my door. The door was locked, of course, but still, I was like, what the hell is this guy doing trying to climb in my car? And then he starts trying to say something through the window, which I was unable to discern, and I was like, I don't want any, sorry, I don't have anything, go away from my car, weird person. And finally the light turned green and I just drove up. Unfortunately, I only had to go a block before I had to pull over to go to the cell phone place, so I went ahead and pulled over, and I'm waiting there, and I'm getting my stuff together because I'm going to get out and go into the thing. And the guy followed me over to where I was parked right there in front of the cell phone place. And I was like, unfortunately I was still inside the car, and so it was all locked still. But I'm like, what the hell, And so I cracked the window on the passenger side just a little bit, about that much. And I'm like, can I help you? Because obviously he wants me for some reason. And he's like, well, I was just having some coffee over here and I wanted to see what you were doing. And I'm just like, what the hell are you talking about? And he's like, oh, hi, my name's Ali, and there's this store closing over here and they got a lot of really good deals, and I was wondering if you might want some coffee. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And he's kind of rambling on a little bit, and I'm finally clicking in my head. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this guy's hitting on me. Not really sure why you would run out into traffic and hit on somebody that's already in a vehicle waiting at a stoplight, but I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. And then about the time I'm having this thought go through my head, I'm feeling a lot more comfortable about what's going on, and then I start listening to him again, and he's like, so how much do you charge? And I'm like, well, are you serious? Really? I'm like, no, I don't charge. And of course, I realized after I said that, that was a complete wrong thing to say. But that's what I said, like a freaking genius I am. And, of course, he was all down for that. It's like, oh, I like you already. And I'm like, oh, you're missing what I'm trying to tell you, okay? I don't charge, I don't get paid, I'm not a hooker, And then he starts going and ranting about how, oh yeah, I like transsexuals, and they know how to, real girls don't know how to treat a man and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, I know that stuff, I know what's going on with it, you know what I mean? But anyways, the point is, I'm like, you just tried to buy me. And I'm like, I'm the one with the car, okay? I'm the one that was in traffic. I don't know what country that works in, but as far as I know, the hookers are the ones that stand on the sidewalk, and the dudes with the money that are paying have the cars, and they come pick them up and drive away with them. I don't remember it ever being where the hookers are driving around in the cars and the guys with the money have to stop the cars and get into the car with the hookers. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know a lot of hookers. In fact, I don't know any hookers of any type of anything. So, yeah, I have absolutely no experience at all in that entire field. But as far as I know, that's how it works. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm inexperienced. I'm vastly inexperienced, I'll admit that. But I thought that's how it worked. And so I'm just kind of beside myself with what the hell is going on here? what is it in this guy's head? And I don't know, maybe he was spun out on something, I don't know. But it was really trippy and rather interesting and bizarre at the same time. And when I got out, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go out and pay my cell phone bill because I can't just sit here in my car all day long because some weirdo's out there. So I'm like, I'm either just going to have to whoop his ass on the sidewalk or go ahead and go on with my day. And so I did. I just got out and I started walking over to the cell phone place. And he was like leaning up against my car. And then as I was walking, I was like, are you following or are you just staying? And he was like, oh, I gotta go get something. I'll be right back. And I was like, okay, fine. So I went and paid my cell phone bill, came back, and he was nowhere in sight. So I got my car and boogied out of there. But still, it was really odd. And I mean, there's lots of things that I look like. I mean, come on. I mean, obviously, I know I look a little bit edgy, you know, stand out in the crowd a little bit. But of all the things I look like, I do not think a hooker's one of them. I could be wrong. I mean, I could be, as I'm freaking giving peep shows to the camera. But I don't think so. I don't think I look like a hooker. I hope not. That would be very wrong impression-ish. But I don't know, it just kind of made me kind of second guess what I was doing for a little while, and I'm like, wait a minute, am I actually giving out that kind of image? You know what I mean? And it never really occurred to me because I was like, I don't think so, but then again, nobody's ever told me that either. So, since I don't know what they look like, I wouldn't even know if I was. So, maybe that's why I've never been able to find a hooker. I don't know what they look like. But, you know, I digress. What are you going to do? I was bad. Today I went to Burger King and had me a Whopper Jr. meal. It was not as satisfying as I'd hoped. But it was that old familiar Whopper flavor, which I missed. And so that's pretty much why I got it, was nostalgic reasons. Just wanted to be like, oh, Whopper. I remember the 90s. You know. So I just got a junior. It wasn't nothing spectacular or massive or anything. I still have not got called for my hours yet, which is very disturbing. Goodness. Okay. Other than that, I guess things are going pretty well. I had some neat guy at Burger King while I was waiting in line. He was all like, aren't you cold? And I'm like, not really. No, I'm not. You know, he's like, well, you're wearing this like little shirt and these like short skirts and stuff. And I'm like, well, okay, yeah, and I understand how you would think that, but at the same time, I'm not, which is ironic because usually I'm always super cold and wearing these wrapped up trench coats and walking around with like 3 pairs of pants in the winter. But this year I'm not, which is really surprising. I'm not sure why exactly that is going on, other than, you know, I'm willing to pay the price to look cute. But yeah, it was interesting. So, oh, and then I was done, and the cooks at the Burger King were all like, "Oh, you have such a nice legs," and I'm like, "Yeah, thank you." You know, they're like, "Oh, you look cute in pink. Pink look good on you." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you. I love pink. You know, it's my color." And you know, and I'm like, "Yeah, you know, I got these long legs and they're gorgeous and stuff, but to have long legs, you have to be tall too. And so being tall sucks. But I get the legs." And I was like, you know, and I always tell people, it's like, you're always like, "Oh, I wish I was tall." And I'm like, no, you don't. It's a headache. It hurts your head to be tall. And I'm like, man, I hit my head on door frames, car frames, ceiling fans, light fixtures, shelves. So many things that are not very nice to tall people. But whatever. Headache. It's It's not fun being tall. I'd rather be shorter. A little bit shorter. Not a whole lot shorter, just a little bit shorter. Short enough to be able to go under everything without having to duck all the time. I'm gonna have a hunch in my back from ducking underneath things all the time. It's gonna be so not cute. Or hot. Or anything. Other than grotesque. Nessa with a hunch. Hi. How are you today? I bet you nobody's gonna be coming up to my car and hitting on me. Offering me money. Money. What the hell am I doing? This video's over.